Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L coming in with Shokugeki no Soma chapter 313. Great stuff, man. Great stuff. I'm really excited about this one because the first thing we get, the 3 chapters until the end. Ooh. Now, before I get into like ragging on Shokugeki no Soma ending, because I really want to do that. You guys know this video style. This chapter is actually really good because whenever the author has the opportunity to slow down a bit and just focus on the characters the way that he always has, it usually is going to end up really good here. And like the thing is, the author does create characters who are insanely infuriating, and you know, whose faults are easily available for us to be able to see and talk about. Sorry, I got a little phone message. So, you know, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the chapter. We're going to talk about the failings. We're going to talk about the good parts. We're going to talk about what I think is going to happen. But first, we're going to start with Shokugeki no Soma ending. So, I'm seeing people saying that when they see 3 chapters until the end, they're hoping that it's the arc. And it's like, guy, have you been reading the same thing that we've been reading? This is not the arc. This is the full chapter ending, or the series ending. Most likely. Like, this is a 99% chance here. The reason people are questioning it is because recently 7 Deadly Sins had a thing where they were saying that they were ending, and then it turned out they weren't. The thing is, this is Shonen Jump. It's a different magazine. This is totally within the Shonen Jump MO. This is like the same reason that I was saying that this was going to end. This is the logic happening here. Now, mind you, I did think it was going to end around chapter 310 or 312 if it got extended. Little did I know that the author was just going to absolutely milk the living daylights out of Asahi. And now we're ending at 316, which is 6 chapters more of material than I expected. Is that good? Is that bad? It's tough to say. It's tough to say. Am I happy that Shokugeki no Soma is ending? No, not really. But I'm also not happy at the sharp decline in quality. And also, before I even get there, I just read the comments for last week's video, and I saw that there was a very nice comment thread between, I think Dan is Dan. Oh, it's not loading. Yeah, Dan is Dan and Ario Setyo. I just want to say, like, that was a pretty cool comment thread for you too if you're watching the video. I really enjoyed it. I found it nice to read. But there was something that Ario Setio had said in his comment that I found really interesting, in that he said that this is still in semifinals, so the only way that there's going to be a plot twist is if it's in Erina's bracket slot. And you know, reading that, it makes you feel like, okay, yeah, that's reasonable, but you also have to acknowledge that Shokugeki no Soma, this arc, has been such a rushed train of events that the chances that Erina was going to have a plot twist in her bracket, well, we found the answer here. It was just flat out, someone told us that Erina just blew through her bracket. It's those little moments like that. In case anyone's wondering why Shokugeki no Soma is ending, it's moments like that. Those are the moments that you look at and you say, this is the sign that this is being rushed. This is the sign that this is not working out. This is the sign that there's something horrible going on behind the scenes. It happened with Megumi. It happened with Tsukasa. Those guys were all the moments that told us that this arc was falling apart. Now, what I want to say here is that there's always going to be the argument that maybe the author wanted to end this on his own terms. I think that is unlikely. I think it's more likely that the author got told that Shokugeki no Soma was being cancelled, and he was most likely told that around the part where Soma passed the first, anywhere between where Asahi kidnaps Erina and where Soma enters the second round of the blue. Because there was one character that popped up. I'll put his picture up the screen. This was the time where the author was still taking his time to develop the characters, because this guy got a lot more screen time than a lot of the other noirs did. And this was right before the noir plot became all about Asahi and his cronies. So this is the time period where the author would have gotten that weird message, because this is where the style of the arc changed fundamentally. This is where the author started sacrificing characters. This is where the author started throwing away the things that he was setting up with the noirs. So this is where pretty much the decline in quality of Shokugeki no Soma happened, because this is where the author started disrespecting his characters. So the big thing here is, if you interpret that the author wanted to end this on his own terms, and he decided this was going to be his final arc on his terms, then the question of quality, it's a bad arc. It's like the author should have done better. He should have planned things out better. He should have paced things better. Same thing happened with Bleach. Kubo just likes to meander a lot. And then when it was time to finish up the thing, he had to rush everything, and it ended up being very unsatisfying. For Soma, that's if it's the author had said that this was going to be his final arc, it's all on him for all the level of shittiness that we've got. If the author was told by Shonen Jump that he had to end the arc at a certain time, that's different, because then that's extra pressure being added to the author, in which case him doing the things he's done is pretty much him trying to save a sinking ship. So, one of those possibilities is more respectable than the other, because one of them relies on the author having to deal with external pressures as opposed to internal pressures. So, overall, Shokugeki no Soma's ending, I think that the shittiness that we've observed up till now is not the author's fault, given that most likely Shonen Jump told him he had to cancel, just because that's what Shonen Jump does. Unfortunate. The other signs that Shokugeki no Soma was ending was going to be all the things that we got with Asahi as absorbing all of Soma's enemies' powers to give you that idea that Soma beat Tsukasa, Soma beat Joichiro. That was just the author trying to tie that up real quick. The rant aside about that's a good 6 minutes there. This chapter. Let's go piece by piece, man, because some people in this chapter are just infuriating. But thank God that the author does know how to write Soma really well. So we'll start with the first bit, which I thought was just ridiculous. Like I said last week, Mana's going to be moving the goalpost because, Mana has to be the final villain here. I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy about it in any which way. I love that Soma told her that even though it got her techniques to come out, she is a greedy one. I agree. Mana is super greedy. I feel like Asahi made something that was out of this world, and I just don't like that she's always moving the goalposts. But I get it. It's part of the arc, part of the tournament. But Mana is just the biggest plot device. No matter how you look at it, Mana is the one who the author uses to get away with all the shoddiness within the tournament arc. And it's annoying, but it's really good to know that the author acknowledges that, with him having Soma say that she's a greedy person. So that's pretty good. It's always good when the author's aware of the bad parts of his characters. Now, I also spotted that people didn't understand something that Mana said in some of the comments. It was specifically when she was talking about Soma that she said that she can make a dish of that level if she walked forward for months. And what she's referring to there, I believe, is actually the wasteland. She's talking about the wasteland of cuisine. She's saying that if she could walk forward in the cuisine wasteland for a few months, she'd be able to figure out what Soma figured out. And that's listen, lady, that's the biggest that's the biggest pile of excuses you've ever given. First off, you can't walk in the wasteland, so that's mute. Secondly, Soma has not been walking in the wasteland as long as you have, and you have not found that answer. So, this is just the lady saving her pride. It's arrogant. It's really arrogant. She's a really annoying character. She's a really infuriating character. And she talks about things as if she could do them. Look, the reason that we're in this arc is precisely because she can't walk in the wasteland, because she can't survive it. Otherwise, most likely, she'd be suicidal. Because we've seen how Erina's getting. Most likely, Mana would... Well, the first time she exiled herself from her family, so I really don't know what Mana's capable of if she gets depressed enough. Moving on. Page 4 had the bit saying that Erina just kind of blasted through the semifinals. So I assumed that Erina was going to be fighting Glasses Guy, the guy that actually kidnapped her, because that would have been thematically appropriate. That would have made sense in the story. But given the rushing, we can't do that because the author's on a deadline. The thing is, he's probably working on the final chapter right now, because I think, we're 2 weeks ahead of actual chapters being produced in terms of when they're getting published. So, unfortunately, we're going to have to skip that because the author just doesn't have the resources to be able to do that fight. If he cut one chapter out of the whole Soma Asahi deal, we could have probably have gotten it, but nah. The author has to go for what he thinks is appropriate at any given point in time, which is, again, fine. It's just... It's unfortunate when we're in a situation where you can see the rushing happening at such a high frequency. The next bit of pages that we're going into are depressed Erina, and like I said last week, I said I really hope Erina feels like shit over all of this, and I'm really happy that she does. because this makes sense that she would feel like shit. And it makes sense that she would feel like shit given the way that the author can write his characters. So the big thing here with this Heart Depressed at Sunset page, and just with this whole little bit here, I think Erina is probably the biggest victim of this arc, because this arc had to make Erina into a damsel in distress. It had to make her into a damsel in distress so that Soma could have his moment to save her. And that's unfortunate. I don't think we should be, or I don't think it's good to elevate one character by destroying another. And that's what happened with Erina. She bit onto the Kool-Aid that Asahi was feeding her after only meeting him once, after he kidnapped her. She got enamored with his philosophy. She lost hope in everything. And it's just like, why would she do that? Of all the things, this person, the one who suffered the most in Shokugeki no Soma, and she continues to suffer, this time at her own volition, because she bought into a Kool-Aid that a criminal was selling her? Like, come on, man. So, that is one of the sadder parts. She is one of the more... She's one of the bigger victims in this arc. Other victims include Megumi, to a lesser extent. Tsukasa, also a victim. It's unfortunate. Like, what else can you really say about this? Like, her whole... That said, her whole little bit about understanding why she feels, like, so shitty, that was really good. Like, the author is good at introspecting. It's just the fact that we have to be here with Erina in a point where she is cowering in misery. And, you know, it's just not fair. That said, it does set up Soma really well. To the point that when you get that chapter with, or that page with Soma checking out her food, it's like, man, that is so nice. Like, you know, we are going hard into a Soma x Erina ending. I am so into that. I am ready for that, man. It's gonna be the best. Erina with tears in her eyes and Soma right there, like, telling her, like, this is not the best thing you can do. I love it. And I love that Soma, like, figures out what he wants to do based on that. Now, here's a crazy theory, guys. I think, and let me know what you think down below, I think Soma is going to cook Erina what his mother cooked for Joichiro. I think that's what we're going into. I think we're going into a situation where I could realistically see a Soma losing to Erina ending if Soma tries to save Erina. I could totally see that. And then Erina being the one that overcomes the God Tongue. Because right now we have a few little plot points going on here. We have the Mana versus Erina conflict, and then we have the Soma versus Mana conflict, which is by proxy the Soma versus Erina conflict. I think Soma's gonna try to save Erina and have Erina beat her mother. Because that makes sense with the way that Soma's battles have gone when it comes to Erina. This way, we can get the Erina saying Soma's cooking is delicious, and we can get the really good moment for Erina to defeat Mana. Soma's gonna make something that's super delicious, but not out of this world. I feel like that's likely. Oh, we could also just go with the straight Soma beats Erina thing, while also beating Mana. Which is like okay, but I think if the author tried to salvage Erina and give her a victory, I think it would be good. So that's what I'm betting for. I'm gonna bet Soma's gonna make what Soma's mother made for Joichiro that saved him. And like the reason there is like right now Erina is lost in the wasteland. Joichiro was also lost in the wasteland. I think this is it. This is the moment. This is what we're gonna know how they actually ended up together. And I think we're gonna have a nice little moment of Joichiro saying like, yeah, that's what my wife made for me. So if I get that right, I'm pretty happy about that. I want to see how this is going. This was just, it was cool. Now the only thing is that at the end, oh buddy, we end with a cliffhanger that is very reminiscent of another cliffhanger that we got in Shokugeki no Soma. Again, the author is calling back. He has Azami and Senzaemon sitting in the same room, and they're again talking about the Jewel Generation plan. And it's like, author, if there is one thing that I will always say that you did bad, it was the damn cliffhangers. The author is such a tease with those cliffhangers. And if you guys have been watching for a long time, you know how I feel about the author's cliffhangers. I think they're the biggest waste of time. I think they're a very cheap way of drumming up excitement. I don't like it. I think it's just I think it's just a very shitty way of going about things when you have... And the reason like it happens is because it's a week-to-week manga. The mangas are rated by popularity any given week. The reason that Soma most likely is getting cancelled is because it was at the bottom of the table of contents, implying that the editor didn't think people were coming in to read Shokugeki no Soma. So it was at the back of the books most of the time. But it's just not cool. I am happy that the author is resolving that plot point, because it is one of the more important ones, but I really wish it wasn't just relegated to Cliffhanger. Like, man, come on. It's just such a dishonest way of like going about telling a story. It's just to get cheap thrills, and I just don't think it works. Anyway, that's my opinion on the chapter. Overall, am I excited for the last 3 chapters? Yeah, because I kind of want to see if they're gonna do what I'm thinking, or if they're gonna go straight with it. I think it's likely that we're gonna go... Sorry, phone. I think it's likely that we're gonna go... Oh, I want my alternative, but if we get just Soma beating everyone, like, that's cool too. I guess right now I really want to see Mana fail. Anyway, guys, let me know what you thought down below. I think we got 16 minutes. Not too bad. Yeah, let me know. Till next time, I hope you have an absolutely great day.